Okay, hi everyone. Square Thiny Push Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Squarepusher album, Dostro Time. This is the latest full-length LP from mega-talented producer, multi-instrumentalist, composer, bassist Tom Jenkinson, aka Squarepusher. One of the greatest minds, in my opinion, to come out of the UK electronic music scene. A guy who cut his teeth in the 90s as a groundbreaking drum and bass artist, exploring not just new levels of speed and intensity in the genre, but also bringing a jazz virtuosity to it through his approach to rhythms and soloing, which resulted in some amazing albums that I've talked about before and will continue to talk about into the future. Hard Normal Daddy, Go Plastic, Big Loda, also his fantastic debut Feed Me Weird Things, which I had the pleasure of interviewing Tom around the 25th anniversary of. And that's a lot of the stuff Tom put out during his most definitive years artistically. But when it comes to his more recent output, I wouldn't say it's necessarily declined, at least in terms of like technical execution and attention to detail. Maybe there being less focused generally is the issue. On his past couple of full lengths especially, it kind of seems like the track list feels like Tom is just allowing his artistic whims to take him pretty much wherever he feels like at any given moment. And when he is drilling down into an idea and focusing on it, it's usually something super niche that doesn't have the widest appeal, like doing a solo bass live album or starting some kind of rock electronic band hybrid. At this moment, it just kind of seems like Tom is in his own little world creatively, which is not inherently a bad thing, because when he does give us a peek into that world, it is large and it is vibrant. Our first taste of that with this LP came in the form of the amazing lead single to it, Wendorland, which I just can't get sick of no matter how many times I play it. The track is just blistering breaks that you need a 64-core processor to decipher in real time. Then add on to that some noisy, revved up, glitchy acid bass and creepy industrial style sound effects too, and you've pretty much got classic 1997 to early 2000s Squarepusher, but with a kind of sinister cinematic edge. And there are actually numerous other cuts on this LP that run along a similar track. On Dune Ray, we also have these insane, dizzying breaks enveloped in these goosebump-inducing little production details. And there's a similar progression there too, intro, establish, build, pull back on kind of a harmonious bridge, and then just go all out for the finish. And look, if this track is not enough of a Jenkinson throwback for you, listen to Strumcore, which rewinds even further to his old school jazz fusion energy. And he is really jamming on this one. The drums are nuts, and the bass lines, the bass soloing is, feed me weird things, Tom! Feed me weird things! It's just electrifying and incredible how much Tom, after all these years, is still able to conjure that live energy with how he assembles instrumentation in such a sequenced and methodical fashion. But look, I wouldn't say nostalgia or reminders of Tom's past work are the most defining characteristic to this LP. It's really that eerie, massive, post-industrial veil the record is cloaked in much of the time, which makes a lot of these tracks fit for a movie trailer or something. Even on Cronmac 2, there are synth passages that sound like something out of a John Carpenter piece, with Tom still being able to maintain some of those jazz elements too. It's just unfortunate he wasn't able to come through with a strong finish for this one. I sense a similar struggle in finishing things on the song Hallerform. Still, the film score theatrics in the production sound fantastic. The rhythmic switch-ups across the track are great, and this one has a chord progression that stings like watching the Terminator get lowered down into the lava. So yeah, tracks like these are really the bread and butter of the LP. There are a few surprises here and there though, which I think unfortunately contributes to a kind of weak start and ending for the project. For one, we have these bass interlude pieces at the start, end, and middle of the record. I don't think they contribute that much to the album's overall sound. They just kind of feel like something that we've heard already, like on that solo bass record, but maybe not as strong in terms of playing and composition. And then in addition to that, we have In Bounds, and stylistically it's kind of a surprising turn for Tom. I mean, as someone who is not just an electronic music producer, but a student of electronic music, I'm not surprised he would have a place in his heart for something in this style. Essentially this grandiose, theatrical epic of a piece with glistening synthesizers, galloping, punchy snares. It's also profoundly 80s and mainland Europe. The only thing it's really missing is some goofy Swedish DJ hollering about how he wants to feel the audience's energy over the climax. But yeah, if you're at all familiar with Tom's music, you know this is not usually the lane he inhabits. And while he most definitely does put his own little spins on it here and there through the synth work and the chord progressions, as well as that weirdly dark ambient outro, I don't know. I just feel like a piece like this isn't really his strong suit, and I think an artist or a DJ with more layers, a bigger production budget, and maybe a greater pop sensibility would have done more with a sound like this. Then we also have Heliobat, which is the final full composition on the record. It's a very simple, one-dimensional, serene kind of piece to cool things off after a very chaotic storm of a track list. While I'm not crazy about how it ends, it somehow feels like a more fitting finish than the, third bass piece on the record. So yeah, unfortunately we have another Tom Jenkinson album that I'm not necessarily in love with as a whole piece, that I'm not blown away by on a macro level. I feel like it's still a bit too all over the place for that, but I do think this is one of Tom's most consistent projects in a while. He really does bring back some of those drill and bass sounds with a vengeance, and executes them with peak intensity and ferocity, while also bringing that brainy, skilled, jazz-influenced musical know-how, and marries them together in a way that only he truly can. I'm feeling a decent 2 strong 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Squarepusher, live forever.